What happens when the school's most feared bully picks the wrong black girl to mess with? When he shoves her, expecting her to back down, something explosive happens instead. Stay tuned. Sterling Academy. A prestigious private school for the rich, the privileged, and, if you ask certain students, the right kind of people. Right now, all eyes were locked on one particular scene. Raven Tate had just turned the corner. She wasn't thinking about drama. She had AP Calculus in 5 minutes, and a quiz waiting for her. But, as it often does, the universe had other plans. Standing in the middle of the hallway, blocking her path like some kind of bad movie villain, was Grant Wheeler. At 6 feet 2 inches with blonde hair and a build like a football linebacker, he looked like he could snap you in half without breaking a sweat. But, worse than his intimidating size was his arrogance. Grant had everything: money, connections, and an unpleasant habit of treating people like they were beneath him. And today his target was Raven. Raven saw him before he even opened his mouth. She knew what was coming. Well, Grant sneered, leaning against the lockers. His voice rang with mockery, carrying the familiar tone of someone who had no fear of consequences. Looks like somebody got lost. You sure you're in the right place, Raven? A few students slowed down, stealing glances as they passed. Others stopped just long enough to hear the exchange. But no one dared to intervene. Not at Sterling Academy. There was an unspoken rule here. If Grant Wheeler was picking on someone, you stayed out of it. Raven's eyes narrowed, but she didn't back down. She'd had enough of this. Too many days of swallowing his snide remarks. Too many months of pretending his words didn't sting. Today, something was different. She exhaled sharply, her grip tightening on the strap of her backpack. "Move, Grant," she said firmly, her voice low but cutting. "I don't have time for your garbage today." That was the wrong answer. Grant's smirk widened. "Oh, you think you can talk to me like that?" He stepped closer, towering over Raven, his presence intimidating. "You don't belong here, Tate. This school isn't for—" He shoved her, expecting her to stumble, but Raven barely budged. The shove was more than just an attempt to physically move her. It was a message, a warning, a challenge, a mistake. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A few students pulled out their phones, the tension in the hallway palpable. This wasn't just bullying anymore. It had escalated into a spectacle, a show for everyone to watch. Raven tilted her head, locking eyes with Grant. "You really don't want to do this," she said, her voice calm, too calm. Grant scoffed, dismissing her. "Or what? You gonna run and cry to a teacher?" He leaned in closer, his breath hot on her face. "Go ahead, little girl. This ain't your place." Another shove, harder this time, sent a ripple of unease through the crowd. The tension was unbearable. Raven rolled her shoulders, exhaling slowly, her body language completely in control. "All right," she muttered, her voice steely and resolute. He asked for it. With one swift movement, Raven dropped her backpack to the ground. Before Grant could react, she grabbed his arm, twisted her body, and in one fluid motion, flipped him over her shoulder. Grant crashed to the floor with a loud, sickening thud that reverberated through the entire hallway. For the first time in his life, Grant Wheeler wasn't on top. He wasn't the king of the school. He was flat on his back, staring up at the ceiling. His pride shattered into 1,000 tiny pieces. Silence. Then, someone screamed, "Oh my God!" The collective shock broke like a dam, and the room erupted into laughter, clapping, and cheering. Raven, unfazed, adjusted her backpack and casually stepped over him, as though he were nothing but an inconvenient speed bump. "Told you," she said, her voice as casual as ever. The crowd went wild. People were high-fiving, phones were out, recording every second. Someone even shouted, "World Star!" Grant groaned, rolling onto his side. His face was beet red, and his hands were clenched into fists. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. By lunchtime, the entire school knew what had happened. Videos of Raven flipping Grant had gone viral, spreading across social media like wildfire. "Yo, she straight up destroyed him," one student said, shaking his head in disbelief. I didn't know Raven could fight like that. She's a freaking ninja, bro. People who had never even spoken to Raven before suddenly wanted to sit with her. They wanted to know how she did it. Where had she learned to fight? Could she teach them? The questions came non-stop, accompanied by endless high fives and praise. But not everyone was happy. Grant wasn't just humiliated, he was furious. His ego had taken a hit, and he wasn't going to let it slide. He wanted revenge. By the next morning, Sterling Academy wasn't just talking about Raven flipping Grant Wheeler, they were obsessed with it. The video had exploded overnight. It wasn't just confined to student group chats anymore. It had made its way to Instagram, TikTok, and even Twitter. The title? Rich Kid Gets Destroyed by Black Girl at Elite School. While the students laughed and shared memes, Grant was seething. He had spent years building his reputation. Years of ensuring that everyone at Sterling knew his name, feared him, respected him. And now, in a matter of seconds, he had become the punchline of a viral joke. A meme. A walking embarrassment. And there was only one way to fix that, to make Raven Tate regret the day she ever embarrassed him. Raven should have seen it coming. Maybe, if she weren't so busy dodging high fives and answering non-stop questions about her martial arts training, she might have noticed the whispers. The way people looked at her, a mixture of admiration and fear. The way Grant and his boys stayed unusually quiet that morning, watching her from a distance. But she didn't see it. So when lunchtime rolled around, and she received a text from an unknown number, it didn't take long for her to figure out who it was. Meet me at the gym after school. No cameras. Let's settle this. She barely hesitated. Of course it was Grant, and of course he wanted a rematch. She wasn't scared. She should have been. Sterling Academy's gym was massive, with high ceilings, polished floors that reflected the light, and championship banners hanging from the rafters like a reminder of the school's prestige. But at 4:15 p.m., the gym was eerily quiet, empty, or at least that's how it looked. Raven stepped inside, the sound of her sneakers barely audible against the smooth floor. The second the door slammed shut behind her, a chill ran down her spine. She wasn't alone. Big mistake coming here, Tate. Grant's voice echoed through the gym. Raven turned, and there he was. But he wasn't alone. Behind him stood three guys. Hunter, Mason, and Tyler, his goons. Big, dumb, and loyal to Grant no matter what. So that's how it was going to be. Raven sighed. For against one. Wow. You really must be scared of me, she remarked, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Grant's face twitched with fury. Shut up, he snarled. He took a step forward, then another, his eyes now darker, colder, meaner. This isn't about being scared, he growled. It's about respect. Raven's stomach twisted at the word. She'd heard that before from people like him, people who thought they owned places like Sterling Academy, people who believed someone like her didn't deserve to be there. She pushed the rising anger down, taking a deep breath. Stay calm. Stay focused. Grant swung first. His punch was sloppy, wild, fueled by blind rage. No control. Raven dodged effortlessly, twisting to the side as the punch whooshed past her. Amateur, she muttered under her breath. Then Mason lunged, but Raven was quicker. She ducked low and swept his legs from under him. He collapsed hard on the gym floor with a loud thud. Tyler came next, trying to grab her from behind. Bad move. She elbowed him hard in the ribs. There was a sickening crack, and he stumbled back, gasping for air, clutching his side. Hunter hesitated, clearly uncertain about the outcome. Big mistake. Raven spun, her body moving like lightning, and kicked him square in the chest. He flew backward, crashing to the floor with a loud thud. 3 down. 1 left. Grant's face was pure rage now, his fists clenched, his entire body trembling with fury. He rushed at her, throwing wild, desperate punches. They were sloppy. They were weak. And, of course, Raven dodged every single one. Then, with lightning speed, a kick to his gut sent him staggering backward. His eyes widened in shock, and Raven didn't give him a second to recover. She stepped forward, grabbed his collar, and slammed him into the gym floor with all her strength. Grant gasped, stunned, his breath caught in his chest. Raven crouched over him, her voice low, cold, dangerous. "Don't ever touch me again." The gym fell into complete silence. Grant groaned, rolling onto his side, humiliated. His goons were still sprawled out on the floor, defeated. The once feared Grant Wheeler, the king of Sterling Academy, was now nothing more than a joke. His reputation was in tatters, and he couldn't do a thing about it. By the next morning, Sterling Academy had a new queen. No one feared Grant anymore. They feared Raven. No one whispered behind her back anymore. Instead, they whispered about what she would do if you crossed her. And Grant? Well, he had learned the hard way that there are some people in this world you just don't mess with. Did you love that? Then hit that subscribe button for more insane stories coming soon. And don't forget to like and share.